Okay, hello and welcome to episode 13 of my to-do list. And in today's episode, the first thing we're going to do is actually going to get petrol. On the way to getting petrol, there's a few things I'd like to talk about. Number one is thank you. Thank you very much for the plus, I think it's 115 subscribers now. It's great to have everyone here, and a special shout out to the people that actually interact with me, that send me messages, send any kind of feedback or questions, and yeah, that makes it really worth it. Second thing is a little bit of an update. So I did get all of my windows working, so we can take a look. I don't know if we can see all of this, but here's two of them. Those have always been working, and then we've got another two working. Yep. So you can probably see all of those. Let's hope they all go up again as well. Turned out that in the door jamb on the left-hand side, some of the cables were broken and needed replacement. Last week, I had the car at the specialist mechanic to take a look at my starting issue. And he did a smoke test around the engine to see if there's any air leaks, and it's looking good there, so that's a positive sign. What he did do is he put some injection cleaner, this product here, Wirt petrol injection cleaner, which I could have thought of doing myself, because I always suspected it could be some injector that is clogged up or something like that. So yeah, I may have overpaid for that kind of advice. The other thing he did is he played around with the fuel mixture screw and made my engine run richer, and I'm quite unhappy about that. Not because I think it doesn't need adjustment or tinkering, it's more the fact that I think it's worse now. I have noticed when the engine is hot and it's been running for a while, and I will come to a stop and go into neutral or park, I will get surging. It will jump between 500, 1500, and it'll just go up and down and up and down and up and down. That is not how it should be at all. And it was stable beforehand, and now it isn't. I do think he overdid it, and so I think the key will be to probably go a little less rich on the fuel mixture screw. There's plenty of videos and plenty of people telling you not to play around with the screw. But I don't think I really have a choice. I'm not going to go back to mechanic and pay another $300 for him to turn this screw back, because I can do that myself. So now that we're here, it's actually a good time to talk about petrol and which petrol to get, because different people say different things. So Phil, the guy who actually got me into these cars, he said it's not actually worth getting higher octane fuel. Back in the day, they didn't have this kind of fuel. 91 will do you fine, the rest is a waste of money. Then if you look online, there's different people, of course, with different opinions. ChatGPT, for example, will also tell you that 91 is fine. 95 could improve some performance, or the way it burns, and give you less knocking, and potentially have some improvement for you, but it's not necessarily a must-have. I couldn't find much evidence for 98 being the way to go, but my mechanic, and which is supposedly the specialist in this city that I'm living in, he says he only puts 98 into his Benz models, and he says he gets a lot more out of it, and he strongly believes that that's what I should be doing. I've been putting 95 most of the time. I've put some 91 in at one point. I don't really want to switch too much. I don't think that's good, but I want to settle on something that I think is the right way to go. But this is going to be hella expensive. I'm getting the most expensive petrol, and I'm also getting quite a lot, because with the fuel injector that I had in here, I wanted to really cycle through as much as possible before filling up again. Oh no, 48 liters, $143. I usually set back my kilometers. Just want to see how bad my fuel economy really was this time. Let's take a quick look, do the calculator. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So my last fuel economy was about 17 liters per 100 kilometers, which is probably one of the worst ones I've had so far. But to be fair, it spent a bunch of time at the mechanic simply probably being turned on and running without moving. I did the same thing, and I also just did mostly city driving for this session, and I live on a hill, so it is quite intense. The best fuel economy that I've got so far was on a long distance drive where it was just about 10 liters, but that's also on 91 petrol. So now we're on 98, and this will be a new era. Let's see if I get the starting issue. There we go, starting issue still exists. And the second time we're up and running. It is really an absolute mystery. Trying to use the window cleaner in the back. It's working quite well. Ah, no, it's actually dripping into my car. I've never used it before. Oh my God. Okay. Well, that is indeed very interesting. Glad I used that and paid such great attention to what's happening. So I could see that there was a little bit of fluid dripping from the ceiling. That's no good at all. Okay, wow. Interesting. This BMW behind us is getting free rolling shots. What I really want to test though now is, or see, is what the hell happened when it dripped into my car. It's very confusing. There's a bit of, yeah, there's definitely fluid here. Where does it comes from here. Okay. That's wiper fluid. So it's quite dirty in here, but this is the fluid, and there's a line that goes out of here, and then it goes, this is the line, this is the fluid line here, and then it will go probably up the B pillar, and then up around here, and then here, and then it will go here, and then here, wait, or no, it must go through here, and that's how it gets there. So I reckon if I wanted to fix this, I'd start by opening up these things here, take a look underneath. So what I have done is I have taken off this part here, which is was attached like this in here. Take this off first. There's a screw at the top here. Then there are actually there's 3, but I only have 2 left. These little things, which hold this in place, which I could take out, but just leaving it there for now. The most difficult part to get to all this was using the trim removal kit to kind of just get from where the window sits in. What I did when this was sitting up in here, I really went with my tool up and kind of just flicked it out of there carefully, because it really sits in there, and I hope that I can get it back easy enough. And as we can see, it is wet up in there, so that is all the wiper fluid that is leaking, and I now have to find the leak. Don't really want to remove this completely, because then I have to pull it out the other side, but I might have to. Maybe I can see a bit better from this side. Yeah, this is very wet. That is no good. In here, we've got a vacuum line. Then we've got some electrical lines covered by this, which is good. And then here, this is the fluid line. And this just looks like, this is just a piece of wire that has been kind of wrapped around, and I'm wondering if that's where it's leaking. Yeah, interesting. Okay. Well, I mean, I would really like to figure out where exactly it is leaking, And for some reason I feel like the only way for me to figure this out is by pressing the button. So I might get a bucket or at least towels, and then some assistance so someone can press the button, and then I will observe where it's leaking so I can try and fix it. Maybe press that silly button. Okay, stop. Feels like it's coming back, because this actually seems fine. So the culprit has been found, and it is simply come apart. Like, it was simply not attached properly. The fact that even any of it made it down this windscreen is quite impressive. So yeah, let me show you how I did it, because this was actually a lot of just doing as I go. Pretty simple. Took off this little thing here. In there you will find a screw. If you unscrew that, you will be able to pull out the nozzle on the other side. So if we go and take a look here, you can see it's taken out. So this just sits in here, and you can take that out, and that makes it very easy for you to detach the whole tube. And then from there I pulled out the tube here. Once you pull this down a bit, this is where the tube goes along. So I pulled it out there, and then I just was starting to pull it out from here, and realized that I only had to pull out a little bit, as you can see, this much, and then that was it. So I pulled it out from the other side, and then I had this in my hand. So I will need replacement tube, because I don't think that this is mendable. So that means the button is certainly off limits for now. I might even just detach it at the reservoir, and just to clean up here, make sure that there's no stains left. So as we're put on a bit of a halt at the back until I can get some hose, let's do what I promised I would do today, and which is take a look at this screw, the fuel mixture adjustment screw, which is right here. This is all you need to really mess up the way your engine runs. There is many people that tell you not to play around with this screw, but the thing is, he's done it, my mechanic has done it, and I am 100% sure that that is what's causing some issues right now. So let's take a look at what we can do. The way it's done, and we'll show it in a second once the engine is running, you stick it in, you press it down, and then you can turn it the slightest away clockwise to enrichen the fuel mixture, counterclockwise to run leaner. You don't want to do much, and you really want to remember how you stick it in. In all honesty, I have already played around with it just the other day, because it was way worse, and I have already adjusted it to be better again. But let me show you how it was. So I'll stick it in, push it down, and I will now enrichen it by turning it the slightest away clockwise. And this is where it was, roughly. Yeah, so this is exactly what I was experiencing. I've enriched it even more. I'm gonna have to turn it back now because I don't enjoy this at all. But just to show you, if you enrich it enough, it will not be able to find an idle. So I will now turn it back, and I will leave the camera running so you can see what happens. And there we are. I've played around a fair amount, and just continuously testing how it runs, accelerating slightly, letting it rev up and find its balance. The important thing is that when you do this, you know exactly how much you've done from the start. So I put mine into a certain angle, and you can obviously, it fits in many ways. So it would fit like that, it would fit like this, it would fit like that. I started by having it facing towards the engine, and when I got it from him, it was roughly in a 90-degree angle, facing exactly exactly the engine. All I've done now is I have turned it the slightest amount towards the front, and I'm not doing too much, because if I do too much it will be too lean. He already told me it was running quite lean and he enriched it, but I think he enriched it too much because I was getting the surging. So all I've done is I have taken away a little bit, and hopefully that will do the trick. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna leave it at that for now and see how it goes after actually driving the car. It's always different just having it stand around and revving it a little compared to going on a full drive, coming home, going in park and seeing what happens. So I'll observe that. It's important to mention that this isn't the idle adjustment screw. So this is not gonna simply make your idle go smooth. This really is to define exactly an adjustment of fuel to air mixture ratio. And of course, this screw can have an effect on your idle, but you shouldn't be adjusting the screw just to fix your idle. There is probably something else, some other component that is affecting your idle in the first place. To truly measure exactly how to adjust the screw, you would have to have, I guess, some sort of device that measures the fumes coming out of the exhaust, which can then give you the ratio. And then there's some desirable ratio, I guess, that you would aim for. I don't have those tools, so I kind of have to go with a bit of feeling, and probably better to do less rather than more. A slight adjustment, see how we go. Realistically, I can't measure it right now, but I want to make sure I'm not running too lean, and I want to make sure that I'm not running as rich as I was to prevent the surging from happening. So I've got a bit of a mess to clean up. This should be easy enough to put back, and I can leave that for now. In the future, we'll see if the injector cleaner did anything. It might still be something else that's causing my starting issue, so hopefully we figure that out in the future. The tubing should be a fairly simple replace at this point. We've figured out the issue. Didn't know we were going there this video, but there we are. If you want to see more of it, if you're interested, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to replace this. I think we've gotten down to where we need to go down. If you wanted to do this yourself, you'd know how to do it at this point. And that's where I'm going to leave it for today. Again, thanks for all the people that are following and have subscribed. I think one of the videos has now reached nearly 1,000 views, and I'm very, very thankful for that. So that's it with episode 13. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.